Hey friends, and welcome back to Path of Exile for a very late League start video. Just as a warning, this is not really a guide. My original plan, which I tested with SSF runs, got thrown in the garbage. So this one is more experimental, but it has a backup plan. On top of that backup plan, there are plenty of builds that should be an easy swap for the tree that we're using. So let's get into it. This build is a Flicker Strike build aiming to be a little more tanky than normal by using the new block changes, letting us cap attack and spell block along with the endurance charge changes to help us soak some of that elemental damage and physical damage. The new melee changes make physical attack builds look very nice on paper, and the early game seems like it might be super smooth as long as you make sure to upgrade your weapon. For this build, we're going to use Flicker Strike of Power as our main skill. Flicker Strike of Power behaves exactly the same as Flicker Strike, except instead of interacting with and consuming frenzy charges, it uses power charges. With a quality 20 Flicker Strike of Power, we can reach a 50% chance to generate a power charge when we critically strike. If we add a power charge on crit support, we can easily reach 100%. We won't always need the power charge support, but it helps a lot when our crit chance is lower. Now to sustain our teleporting strike skill, all we need is to crit consistently. And that is where some of the new changes come in. I'm sure you've already heard about this crazy powerful bleed wheel with cornered prey. Well, we're going to be using the entire wheel to help us switch to Flicker Strike in Act 4.
You'd have to be mad.
Even better, bleed seems to be powerful enough that we're not compromising our damage to do this. Now, keep in mind this is only on paper for now, but worst case we will fall back to Sunder like every other melee build this league. Once we have enough crit to make using Flicker Strike feel good, all we really need to do is keep upgrading our gear, and aggravated bleeds will take care of the rest. Now, it's worth saying that Sunder with the same tree will be better. All you have to do is replace the sword nodes with something else, but I enjoy Flicker Strike, so for me it's worth losing the extra damage to have the Flicker Strike feel. Now that we have our charges handled, we can coast all the way through the axe and into maps. Versatile Combatant will hopefully keep us alive and sailing through maps as well. You may be asking, what if my crit isn't good enough? Well, never fear. A kind soul from Twitch chat is here to help. As I was streaming my panicked planning, Cat Kills joined the stream and asked some questions and then dropped some of this knowledge on me. I've never heard of this method of flicker, so I looked up the item they were talking about, and what a revelation. You can use this ring to create power charges anytime you don't crit, but you lose them all when you do crit. Well, we have two easy methods to make sure we never crit, and one of them is only 2 points away. So, all we do is drop all of the crit focused nodes on our tree and pick up Precise Technique, and we're set. The only downside here is that the unique ring requires us to be level 60, but in my opinion that's not too bad. Again, this build was pretty rushed, so there's little testing done here. Usually I like to fake a league start run all the way through the axe and into the early maps, and use that gear progression as a guide. But I could not do that this time since I switched builds at the last minute. Because of this, the gear in the axe is very bare bones. All I did was put a weapon and a shield in each of those slots, and those should all be worse than what you can find or make in the axe in every single point. As always, upgrade all your gear as you go. Cap your resistances, max life is your friend. Keep an eye out for the sockets that you will need if you want to do the Act 4 swap. You absolutely need a 4-link item with 2 blue sockets, 1 red socket, and 1 green socket. Lastly, make sure you keep track of your dex and int. You'll need some of it on your gear somewhere, so keep an eye out for it just to make things a little more convenient. That about covers the build. I'm not sure what this build looks like in the final form, but the basic version with reasonable gear should comfortably be able to break 1 million without sacrificing any survivability. Items like Bronze Lithe and Abyssus are incredible on this build. and using them with the existing gear on the red map goals takes this build almost straight to 2 million. Don't be afraid to try things with your build, see what you can learn and how far you can push it. I am crazy excited for this league, and if you want to see how far I can push this build, come join me at twitch.tv/Joespresso_, where I will be streaming every day for the first 5 days of the league. Good luck on your league start, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.